Several products worth more than 7 million pesos have been destroyed today. JL Asayo will tell us why.
The Bureau of Customs or BOC destroyed on Tuesday bales of ukay-ukay or used clothings, around 7,200 cases of chicken legs and virus unclaimed cargoes. The 5 40-foot containers of frozen chicken leg quarters, which came from the USA in December 2014, have no covering import permit, which prompted the seizure of the shipment. The spoiled chicken will undergo a process to be transformed as fertilizers.
So there are we're talking about 5 containers here. 2 were forfeited through the seizure proceedings and 3 through abandonment proceedings.
The bales of ukay-ukay was forfeited in favor of the government pursuant to Republic Act 4653, which prohibits the importation to safeguard public health concerns. These were shredded into pieces. The condemned forfeited goods are estimated to be worth more than 7 million pesos. The BOC also said the disposition of forfeited goods through condemnation is being done in line with the public interest and transparency. Another condemnation of forfeited goods like fake shoes, clothes, and other accessories, which are seized through BOC's different operations, will happen on August 10 in Laguna. JL Asayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The new digital pills that are expected to promote medication adherence are being tested in the United States. Here's why from Beverly Saison.
The problem on patients failing to take their prescribed medication is bigger than people might think. A 2017 study by U.S. health officials found that 20% of new prescriptions are never filled. The new digital pill could offer a solution, and it is being tried as a treatment for hepatitis C in Denver of Colorado. Back in 1976, the car Richard Montoya was riding in struck another vehicle head-on. He was rushed to the Denver Health Medical Center.
Brought me over here and had to take part of my liver out and do the blood transfusion. I got hepatitis C.
He's never been able to afford the drugs to treat his hepatitis C, but recently, a Denver clinic made him a proposition.
My doctor there asked me if I wanted to get into this program to try to clear my liver, that they're able to do it. I said, yeah.
There was one condition: taking the new type of digital pills. Developed by the company Protus Digital Health, the capsule includes both a medication and a tiny sensor that when it hits the stomach, it transmits a signal to a patch worn by the patient. That signal is then beamed to a phone or computer.
This technology is what they term an ingestible sensor, and then we can look online and see exactly what time the patient took their pills.
200 hepatitis C patients were enrolled in a study of the digital pill this year. Hepatitis C is a disease that, partly due to the injection drug epidemic, has been on the rise in the U.S., but new hepatitis C drugs have shown real promise in fighting it. However, one of the critical components is that the patients take their medications, says Wiles, adding that the digital pill offers a good solution and one course of hepatitis C drugs can rein in cost.
Because we can cure it with one defined course, and we think the efficacy of the medications improves with adherence. That's key.
Adherence improves when patients know doctors and nurses are monitoring the regimen, as proved by Montoya, who took the digital pills for 3 months.
If I was late or something like that, and they think they had some guy that was on the telephone that would call me, kept me honest.
Now his energy is up and his hepatitis C is gone. These pills also measure a patient's activity and heart rate and could eventually provide other medical information. Beverly Saison, UNTV News and Rescue, USA.
Up next on Y News. Iran President Hassan Rouhani dismisses U.S. President Donald Trump's call for talks on the eve of new sanctions. Canadian Foreign Minister Chrystia Freeland defends Canada's stance on Saudi Arabia amid sanctions. And Chicago mayor calls out shortage of values as city copes with gun violence. And those are the reasons behind the stories in the second part of our newscast. Y News returns with William Thio. I'm Angelo Castro III. Good evening.
To complete the most significant news for this day, Y News continues. Here are the top stories. President Rodrigo Duterte berates over 100 erring policemen presented to him in Malacañang earlier. The said cops with ranks from Police Officer 1 to Chief Inspector are members of the National Capital Region, Central Luzon, and Calabarzon police offices. Some of them are facing criminal cases like kidnap for ransom, alleged rape, robbery, extortion, and illegal drug trading, while some are facing administrative complaints.
Wala kayong silbi para sa akin. Salot kayo sa lipunan. Winawarningan ko kayo. Kayong mga pamilya nakikinig ngayon, nandito itong mga asawa ninyo, kapatid, anak. Huwag tayong magsisihan. Pag nangamatay itong mga ito, huwag kayong pumunta sa amin at magsisigaw kayo ng human rights, due process.
Meanwhile, the Manila Electric Company or Meralco will increase its rates by 2 centavos per kilowatt hour this August. This translates to additional 5 pesos for a household consuming 200 kilowatts per month and as much as 13 pesos for those consuming 500 kilowatts. The power distributor says this is due to higher generation charges or the cost of electricity from producers.
Kahit pa paano ho namamanage naman as far as yung presyo ng elektrisidad is concerned.
President Rodrigo Duterte issues a stern warning against rice hoarders if they continue with their practices. According to presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, the chief executive has full knowledge of who the rice hoarders are and where their warehouses are located. Roque says the president is determined to mobilize members of the Philippine National Police to break open all warehouses and confiscate all hoarded rice. President Duterte was reported to have called a rice hoarder and ordered the businessman to uncover all his stocks within 72 hours.
So ang kanyang continuing warning is tumigil na kayo. Kasi kilala ng presidente kung sino kayo. And this time around, he made it very clear. He will not hesitate to break open the warehouses, sue him. But he will break open the warehouses if it becomes an issue of national security.
President Rodrigo Duterte fires all board members of the Nayong Pilipino Foundation. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says this is related to a 70-year property lease contract which the president considers as a waste of money for the government. The chief executive announced his decision during a regular cabinet meeting after expressing annoyance over the continued corruption in the government agencies.
He cited the case of Nayong Pilipino, which leased government property for a ridiculous long period of time of 70 years, beyond the lifetime of anyone. And he considered this as a contract which was grossly disadvantageous to government.
The lower house plans to convince the Senate to convene as Constituent Assembly to discuss the proposed federalism. The House leaders will enlist the help of the members of the Consultative Committee to reach out to the higher chamber after Speaker Gloria Arroyo filed a resolution expressing the House's sentiment to vote separately on charter change in a CONAS. The House Committee on Constitutional Amendments will not discuss the rules of procedure of the Assembly and the substance of the proposed new constitution as directed by Arroyo.
We will enlist the help of former Senate President Aquilino Pimentel Jr. and the rest of the members of the Constitutional Committee who are around, find ways that we can really talk it out with our Senate counterpart.
The spokesperson for the Consultative Committee, Ding Generoso, meanwhile appeals to the senators' sense of patriotism in the charter change push.
And sana yung ating mga senador, meron naman nananatili sa kanila na pagmamahal sa bayan. At sana yun ang manaig sa kanilang puso at damdamin. Kalimutan muna natin yung mga politika na naghahati-hati sa ating bayan.
In other news, President Rodrigo Duterte is not concerned over the controversy sparked by the video posted by Presidential Communication Assistant Secretary Mocha Uson. According to presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, the president disregarded the video as a freedom of expression. And though it got the public's interest into federalism, Duterte agrees that a more comprehensive discussion is necessary for the people to fully understand the topic.
That's the challenge now. How to transform this new interest on federalism spurred by this controversy in explaining why we want this change to the Constitution towards federalism.
Senators are seeking clarification on the budget of the Presidential Communications Operations Office, or PCOO, amidst the uproar over a video pitch by Assistant Secretary Mocha Uson. The lawmakers want the PCOO to justify the request to increase its current 1.38 billion peso budget to 1.41 billion next year, while several agencies face deep budget cuts. As the Senate begins its deliberations on the 2019 national budget, the senators vow to thoroughly scrutinize the proposed appropriations of government agencies, especially those facing corruption allegations.
Bakit tataasan ang isang ahensya katulad ng PCOO? Ngayon, importante ang komunikasyon, pero nung klaseng communication?
Dadaan din sa butas ng karayom ang budget ng PCOO. Tiyak ko naman yung mga kasama kong mga senador dito ay talagang titimbangin.
Sana wag na maulit muli. Kaya lang ang inaalala ko sa pag-defend sa PCOO budget, given the fact na marami ang nag-react, medyo balagay ko maraming magtatanong.
Expect rains in areas of Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao tomorrow. Tell us why. Leslie Longbowen from the UNTV Weather Center. Leslie?
Yes, good evening. The low pressure area east of Apari, Cagayan has developed into a tropical depression and was named Carding. At 3 p.m. today, Carding was located at 1,215 kilometers east of Calayan, Cagayan, with maximum winds of 55 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 65 kilometers per hour. The tropical depression is moving westward at 10 kilometers per hour. Carding is not expected to make landfall in any part of the country. Meanwhile, southwest monsoon continues to affect southern Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms will prevail over Zambales, Bataan, Cavite, Batangas, Palawan, Mindoro provinces, and western Visayas. Isolated rains or thunderstorms will also be experienced over Metro Manila, Bicol region, rest of Calabarzon, of Mimaropa, of Central Luzon, and of Visayas, and in Mindanao. Meanwhile, the rest of Luzon will experience isolated rain showers. According to Pag-asa, temperature in Metro Manila tomorrow will range from 24 to 31 degrees Celsius, 16 to 23 degrees Celsius in Baguio City, 26 to 32 degrees Celsius in Metro Cebu, and 25 to 33 degrees Celsius in Metro Davao. Tomorrow, the sun is expected to rise at 5:41 in the morning. That's weather forecast. Back to the studio.
Thank you very much, Leslie Longbowen from the UNTV Weather Center. And for the news abroad, here's Kath Dumaraos from Bangkok, Thailand live. Good evening, Kath.
Good evening, William. Iran's President Hassan Rouhani hits the United States over its reinstatement of economic sanctions. He describes the measures, which came into effect overnight, as psychological warfare which aims to sow division among Iranians. The sanctions take aim at various sectors, with further punitive action planned against Iran's oil trade. The European Union has spoken out against the measures, vowing to protect firms doing legitimate business. It follows the U.S. withdrawal from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, also known as the Iran nuclear deal, earlier this year. Canadian Foreign Minister Chrystia Freeland said on Monday it would be a shame if Saudi students were deprived of an opportunity to study in Canada, after reports that Saudi Arabia would suspend educational exchange programs with Canada. Earlier on Monday, Freeland, referring to a decision by Saudi Arabia to expel Canada's ambassador, said her government would always defend human rights. Saudi Arabia acted after Ottawa urged it to free arrested civil society activists, including the Saudi American human rights campaigner Samar Badawi, sister of jailed vlogger Raif Badawi.
In terms of Canada's position going forward, we absolutely, with great assuredness, stand by what we have said. We will always speak up for human rights. We will always speak up for women's rights around the world.
Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel urges the public to come forward in the wake of a shooting incident that killed 66 people. Here's why from Kat Carriedo.
After a weekend marked by gun violence, emotional officials called Monday for increased accountability for gun assailants. After at least 11 people were shot and killed, and about 70 others were wounded in a spate of shootings in Chicago. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel says there is a shortage of values as he called on people who knew the shooters to report them.
Don't think for a moment people don't know who in the neighborhood was responsible, who actually did this. And so if you say to yourself, enough is enough, they have a moral responsibility to speak up so there can be legal accountability for those actions.
Local media reported that 66 people were shot from 6 p.m. on Friday to midnight on Sunday, and 12 of those victims died. One of the victims was 17-year-old Janae Patterson, who was shot in the face and killed earlier in the morning on August 5, 2018, in Wilcox Street, Chicago.
She was at a party, and she was going to use the bathroom. And her friend was walking, and two boys were standing in the alley, and then they get to shooting. And my baby died instantly, as soon as the bullet hit her.
Police say most of the shootings are connected to gang violence in the city of about 2.7 million people, the third largest in the United States.
When Judgment Day comes, y'all gonna get it. Y'all gonna get it.
Kath Carriedo, UNTV News and Rescue, Chicago, USA.
A startup coffee company builds a foothold in China but aims to set itself apart from established brands like Starbucks. Here's why from Dulce Alarcon.
A Chinese coffee company less than 1 year old but has been expanding aggressively claims to have sold 5 million cups with over 500 outlets sprouting across the country in its first 4 months. The company is valued at $1 billion after raising $200 million in its series of funding in the middle of July, and counts Singapore's sovereign wealth fund GIC among its investors. The startup company set itself apart from the established brands such as Starbucks with a blend of unique marketing and business strategies by using technologies and lower pricing to prize a bigger share in the country's still under-penetrated coffee market.
The price of a Starbucks coffee in China, Beijing, is the same as New York. So does it make sense to bring it to the mass market? Or is this always a niche market? This is more like a venture capital play. We're going to build big, and we're going to win big, or we're probably going to not do well.
In May, the competition between Luckin and Starbucks heated up as the Chinese company wrote an open letter accusing Starbucks of monopolistic behavior. Starbucks responded by denying the accusations and calling it a publicity stunt. However, Professor Tosin says there is really no need for heated competition, as both companies can coexist in such a big market like China.
The market is so big potentially that if they get any degree of traction in the mass market for retail coffee, they will be big and they will win big without touching Starbucks.
Indeed, scale is key in the retail business. As experts say, location often trumps brand. The coffee company has already won many customers in China with its cashless payments.
Because there are so many options now, I will consider what's more convenient for me. With Luckin, for example, I can first order it on the app. When I'm in the car, pick it up from the shop, then go. But with Starbucks, I have to physically queue to buy.
However, queues or not, Starbucks still has a big following. After all, it's been in China for 19 years. Dulce Alarcon, UNTV News and Rescue, China.
And those are our news from around the world. Back to you, William.
Thank you very much, Kath Dumaraos from Bangkok, Thailand, live. A young boy from Guadalajara is set to begin taking classes for a degree in biomedical physics in a university in Mexico City. Here's why from Beverly Saison.
A 12-year-old boy has been admitted to Mexico City's acclaimed National Autonomous University, making him the youngest ever degree-level student at UNAM. The youngster will begin classes for an undergraduate degree in biomedical physics on Monday after passing the university's entrance exam. He has already done preparatory work at the University School of Chemistry in its Genetic Sciences Center.
Socializing with other children, I think, is a little bit difficult. They always tell me I'm a bit strange. That happens with people you've been with and also the people you're put with. That's what it's like when it comes to finding kids like me. It's beautiful when someone understands you.
The boy from Western Guadalajara grew bored with public school at an early age and turned to the web where he taught himself calculus and physics. By the age of 9, he participated in university programs in analytical chemistry, biochemistry, and biology.
It's also impressive where we are at with technology. It rules our lives. The majority of people ignore or aren't interested in what's ruling their lives these days. It's difficult to comprehend that there is a telephone that has a camera, which works on the photoelectric effect, but you ignore Einstein's discoveries.
The university says Carlos would be treated like any other student with no special privileges or benefits.
It's a process. It's a 12-year process, and I can tell you where he'll end up with the start of classes on Monday. It's complicated.
Beverly Saison, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news. August 7, 2018, on behalf of Rheena, Villamor-Camara, and Angelo, Castro III, I am William Thio. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.